Commercial Construction Coffee Talk fans. Thanks for chiming in. My name's David Corson. I'm your host. I'm also the publisher and editor of Commercial Construction and Renovation magazine. This is what it used to look like. I'm pulling out the archives here, May 2021. Derek Rogers, Director of Construction of Christian Brothers Automotive, down there in Big D down in Texas. Let's see how big this one was. This one was 160 pages. And I was like looking to see where I was way back when. This was actually one of my hybrid summits, and I had an awesome time when we went basic virtual, but that was a really cool gig. And in any event, it's always nice to hold the magazine in my hands. And but the last one we did was August of 2021, and I had White Castle on the cover. That was the last issue we basically printed. We still do print on demand, but in any event, it. It had to go digital. It's just the reality
Yep.
of it. But last year we crossed 40 million hits interactions on our website. We averaged about almost 4.5 million people a month hitting the content. So for all you out there on the web, as you start out 2025, I want to thank you for your 2024 and finding us on the web and consuming our content and looking at the magazines and everything else that we do, including the podcast. So hopefully everybody had a great holiday season. Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, Kwanzaa, Festivus, whatever you like there. You know, you had them all in there in December. And it was just actually a really good time. I'm building my house. I'm about 90 days out from finishing my lake lot build. And so we had things going on and brick and stuff getting delivered, and really, really cold here in the ATL over the last couple of days. But all in all, I was kind of catching up. I've redone my background and just kind of clearing my desk off, getting ready to start the year off fresh. As soon as 2024 was done, closed my books, closed my accounting books, files, put them in the box, done. It's like the scoreboard. After the game's over, you can't change the scoreboard, so you don't want to look back at it. You always know what it is. So I told myself at January 1st, I am moving forward, pedal to the metal. 2024 is done. Put it in the history books. Another chapter in my life journal, and we're already starting out on the first. But like I said, I hope everybody had a great holiday season. Thoroughly enjoyed it, and looking forward to an unbelievable year. I'm telling you, it's an amazing time to be alive in America. There is so much happening every day in this country. And you just had the electoral votes certified yesterday. You got the inauguration on the 20th. And I'm telling you, after January 20th, all bets are off what's going to happen, but it's going to be exciting. So tighten your seatbelts on, and you all know what I'm talking about. So, anyway, listen, this is the first episode of the year for Commercial Construction Coffee Talk. So, thanks for chiming in. I've got a nice gentleman. His name is Scott Linder. He's the ops manager for Quest Design Build out of Grand Rapids, Michigan. Scott, say hello to our listeners out there on Commercial Construction Coffee Talk.
Hey everybody, how I hope you all had a great holiday, much as what Dave just spoke to. And Dave, thanks for reaching out and letting me be part of this podcast.
Yeah, absolutely. It this year I was kind of gonna, kind of keep the same format. And Scott, the way it's gonna work is I'm gonna break it up into three parts. You'll tell your story, where you grew up, where you went to school, kids, sports, all that good stuff, and kind of your job, resume, history, and how you ended up at Quest. And then we'll talk about lessons learned over the last couple of years that we've all gone through. And now we're starting on 2025. And then any cool projects that you might have been working on, or trends that you see coming down in throughout the year. And then you'll leave one positive thought or phrase for our listeners out there. So, with that said, the floor is yours. Tell us your story.
Awesome, awesome. Well, yeah, thanks. So I kind of got my itch for construction at an early age. I am dyslexic, and I feel like understanding how things go together when it doesn't come to reading and writing is a heck of a lot easier for me than maybe some others. So that's kind of what sparked the interest in construction. And when I found out that I could attend a specific university, in this case it was Michigan State, and major in construction management, I was all in, hook, line, and sinker, and graduated back in December of '03. God, long time ago. Um, but Dave, by the way, they are the number one hockey team in
I was
all
just gonna
of
say,
the
go Sparty.
NCAA.
Listen, DU, we were number one until we got beat, and then I think we're number six. We just split with Maine this weekend, but I was just talking to
Yeah.
your fellow alums, and
Uh-huh.
I told her, yeah, go Sparty. They're number one in the country. You know?
Yep. Coming off of the frozen confines, playing or having the game outside at Wrigley Field in a overtime winner with about point 0.1 seconds left to beat Wisconsin. So that was a good day for us last Saturday. But anyway, so wanted to get out of Michigan and ended up moving down to Jacksonville, Florida. Thought I'd live there for, a year or two and then move to Vegas and Colorado and everywhere, all the hotbeds. I wanted to go into residential home building, and turns out I got on as a superintendent and never looked back. I made it through a handful of layoffs back in 2008 when the mortgage crisis hit, and finally there was two more that needed to go, and I was lucky to be one of those two, which kind of catapulted me into 2008, starting my own company down in Jacksonville. I ended up meeting my wife down there, stayed there 10 years, operated my own general contracting business for about 6 years. And then, the heat kind of finally caught up with me and it just got a little too warm. And my wife suggested, let's relocate. And why not Grand Rapids? And I said, are you born and raised in Jacksonville, Florida, and you're ready to brave
Ooh.
the frozen tundra that is the Midwest and West Michigan here? So yeah, we moved back in 2014 and came back to a similar renovation and remodel company. Didn't end up working out. And imagine this, I actually picked up the telephone and called a company by the name of Wolverine Building Group just to see if they were hiring. Had an opportunity to sit down with some folks there, and the rest they say is history on the Wolverine front. I ended up staying there for about 8.5 years as a project manager, working on a lot of um, retail and multi-site clients. That's where you and I met, I think, back in 2019 in Biloxi,
Mhm.
Mississippi. Um, and bouncing all over the country doing work, and eventually was fortunate to elevate my title to director. And when we did that, it was kind of leading a team of project managers, doing work in West Michigan and all over the country. This past August, I decided, uh, let's try to go build something special here, and that's what brought me to Quest. It was going from a company of 200 and some people down to a company of seven. Drastically different, wearing a ton of hats. It's been a it's been a wild ride so far in the 4 months here, but super excited for the future and what it may bring. Um, yeah, that's a little bit about the professional. On the personal side, as I shared, I met my wife Aubrey in Jacksonville, Florida, and when we moved back, we actually were pregnant with our first, our son Jackson, named after Jacksonville,
Yeah.
spelled just like the mascot for the Jaguars,
Yeah,
Jackson,
sure.
Jaxson. And moved back here, and then had him and my daughter. So father of two. My daughter is 8, may as well be 18. She is
Mhm.
all the sass and then some, but I look forward to the years to come, I suppose. But yeah, that's a little bit about kind of personally. We're active family. Coach my son in tackle football. He's the smallest kid on the team, but my goodness, he doesn't quit and has the heart of a lion. So can't go wrong with that. He told me last night that he would quit every sport and just play football if it came to that. And he likes to be involved in a little bit of everything. So
It's not the
yeah.
size of the dog, it's the size of the bark. That's just the
Oh
way.
my gosh. And this kid's got all the fight you can imagine. But there was some rough moments when, he's 70 pounds and hitting a guy that's 150. It doesn't usually just sheer mass and how physics works. It didn't
Yeah,
always end well for him,
I
but
forget I forget which bowl game I was looking at, but there was this little guy and this big lineman. He was like 324, and this little wide receiver. They were doing an end around. He was about 160 pounds. Anyway, I think
yeah.
the a flag got thrown. Anyway, this big old lineman, he grabbed this guy. He tossed this guy like a rag doll, man. And he pounded that guy. But the little guy, he bounced right back up and,
Pop back up.
along his ways. So it's like lacrosse, hockey. The bottom line is it's not how big you are. It's all about
Yeah,
talent and how much drive that you have. I mean, look, I'm still the same weight as I was back in my playing days, but I'm about 5'10", 185, and
yeah,
they're much bigger boys. But listen, I always liked sticking my head down, going in the corner, and I was a good skater, and I had
yeah.
leverage. I used
That's
it to my advantage. I was a rushing
that's
defenseman,
it.
but it's tell your son, you keep going and that die hard attitude, don't be scared of anybody, because you can
100%.
always put ice on the wounds and the bruises
Yep.
stuff. But
Nobody's going to outwork them, and that's what I like to
I'll
think I
take
had
a
a little
whole
bit of
team of
influence
guys
on
like
them.
that. You know what I
Yes,
mean?
yes, yes.
Yeah, absolutely. So, you went. You and I'd never been to Grand Rapids, so I came up. I think it was August when we did that, right? Was it
Yeah, it
August?
was.
Yeah, I'd
Yep,
never been to Grand Rapids. What a cool little town. It's not a tier one city. It's kind of a tier two, tier three, somewhere in there.
yeah,
Really, really nice downtown. And we had it at the Amway Center. We had nice weather and really, really green. I guess it had, good snowfall and everything was just plush. Beautiful
yeah,
time. Awesome place. If you've never been to Grand Rapids, go there in the summer. In the winter, it's like Canada. You go there with your
yep,
hair wet, you're going to break your hair. So, it's
100%.
great. Yeah, I learned my lesson a long time ago when I used to cover Canada. I walked out of Toronto, the hotel, and I think it was below zero, and my hair was wet, and I was like, "Oh my God, I'm not losing my hair; it just broke," you know. So,
Yeah,
but
I think it's West Michigan in particular. We get a lot of lake effect snow
lake
when Big
effect.
Lake heats up the air, and then all of a sudden it drops, inches upon feet, depending on the particular storm. And with that, I think one of the hardest parts for my wife adapting from born and raised in Florida are a lot of the gray days that we get where it's bitter cold, no snow and no sun. You
Yeah,
slide over to the east side of the state, and a lot of those gray days are fewer and further between. But I think for all the other excitement and events of being in this wonderful town, I wouldn't trade it for anything.
no, I totally get it. It's listen, you went to Michigan State, so you know where it is. The
Yes, sir.
Floridians they'll get used to it. But I can think of worse places to be. There's a lot colder places than, but it's pretty cold up there right now. I mean, right
It
now
is. It
it is
is.
freezing here. I mean, it was down in the 20s last night, and with the wind chill, really, really cold. And we've got, I guess that storm that came through here. We were expecting about 6 inches of snow, which would have shut down the city. They only have so many,
Of course.
but it just didn't come down south enough. But you know how it goes. And I'm
Yeah.
building my house. I'm like, I don't want it to snow. Don't let it. I want to stay on my schedule here. It's sunny.
Finish the job.
Yeah, it's sunny today, and I'll go up to the lot and see what's going on there. And uh, I just went through my major inspection, framing, mechanical, and all this stuff. And I have a tub and I have a couple walk-in showers, and I went through the inspector, and they came back. I used a third party because I wanted to have another set of eyes on it. This is our first
Sure.
ground up that we did. Anyway, the county had made a change that they wanted to make sure. Well, the tubs they had on there, but if you had a shower, they wanted to make sure the shower pan was in there. So the inspector had put that on there, and they came back to solidify it, and they said, "Oh, you didn't get the shower." I'm like, "You didn't. We did the tub. We did
Right.
the leak and all that. You didn't tell me I had to have the showers." He goes, "Oh no, you need the showers." I'm like, "Why would you do that?
Mm,
That's when you do tile and mortar when we get in there.
right.
After we do drywall and all that other stuff." And so he's like, "No, no, you have to have it done now." And I'm like, but what if I don't even?" Anyway, so I called the building official and talked to him at the municipality, and he goes, "Yeah, I know. It's kind of, but it's I just repeat the code. I'm just a messenger." And
Yeah.
so I kind of but right now we're just getting an insulation and sheetrock, and you know how it's all downhill from there,
Heck
appliances,
yes.
painting. I still have to pour my driveway, but it's all downhill, and can't wait to, have it finished. And it's been learned a lot, and it's been really really fun. I come from a construction family, so to me, I just had never done a ground up, done a lot,
Right.
built a lot of stuff, shoveled asbestos, settling tour. I did all that stuff, but
Yeah, I think it's one of those with that shower pan, they want to see that it's holding water today, but gosh, they don't
you
they
know what
don't
I
come
told.
back and check it before you put your mud pan and your tile in. So make sure
Yeah, well,
you check
well,
it.
that's the thing. They wanted the mud in there, in the
Yeah.
shower, and I told the building official, I said, Brandon, listen. I own the land. I'm the builder too. Why
Yeah.
would I build anything that has a leak, whether it's gas or water or a liquid? Why would I build that to ruin my house? I know that
100%.
there's some contractors that do some shady stuff that ruin it for everybody, couple rotten apples, but why would I do that? You know?
Yes.
And if there's a code that you guys, the municipality puts into place, you really need to, you have the system, you have my building permit, you should set a note in there or put it up there and say, by the way, if you're building a house and you got your permit done in this month, well, you have a new code here that says you have to have the shower pans in here to get, your final inspection. And
100%.
so these are the, I put a residential column in the magazine. So I think I'm on my fifth cover. Anyway, I like residential. I'm going to keep that. I'm going to make it into its own little magazine. And
That's great.
every month I've put something that if you wanted to be your own contractor or do it yourself, I've just I talked about permitting. I talked about dealing with the municipality, how to pick your subs, just all these little things, and that
Right.
I kind of knew, but it was good to relive it, and but I'll tell you, I'm a builder. Look, I build this magazine every month, new cover, and I look at it and I say I built that. Now in a couple of months, I'm gonna say, yeah, I built that right there. And
Right.
yeah, and it's been really fun. My wife designed it, and she's really the contractor. I'm kind of in the back. I'm like you, the ops guy. I do everything.
Yes. Yes.
But the other day, it was so windy, I had to go up there and fix the silt fence. And then the electrical company came in and they made a mess when then they didn't put anything back. They just came in and ripped the silt fence down, put the
Right.
put the electrical lines in and left. And I'm like,
You wait for months on them, and then when they come, it's like a wrecking ball, and then you've
yeah,
got to piece
nothing
it all
against
back
those
together.
guys. I said, hey, to all you electrical guys, I said to all the utility guys, thank you so much for keeping my internet on and my power and all that stuff. But when you came on my lot, you made a mess of it. You just did. The
Yeah.
left side of my house. I was like, well, what the heck happened here, man? They were coming out here doing donut. What are they doing? And but it it it's just getting down to the house is all built, roof, everything's on there, and actually the inspection was very minor. It was just little cosmetic stuff, but he didn't
Yeah.
tell me about the pan gig. And my
Mm.
wife, she's done a million, bathrooms and stuff.
Yeah.
That goes in when the tile goes in. We don't put the tile in. You do it after the drywall. Why would you put it in?
100%.
And it just made no sense to me. And so I'm going to do a Q&A with the municipality, the chief building official. I told him, I said, look, Brandon, I've been doing these. Hey, I'm going to give you the Q&A. I'm going to let you be on the residential cover and talk about, because
That'll be
he said,
good. That'll be
well,
so
no.
good.
Yeah, yeah. You know what he said? He goes, I love people like you that build do it yourself. You're not hiring the kind, you're doing it yourself to learn. And
Yeah.
so it was we had a good conversation, but I told him, say, yeah, I'll send you the questions and you can be on and you can talk about just dealing with me. And I listen, I ask a lot of questions. I just,
Yeah.
like we're doing the concrete. Okay, tell me what that slurry is. Tell me why you do that. I was a pain in the ass, excuse my French, taught a lot of the subs in the beginning because I was like, why do you do that? Why do you do this? Why do you do that? So I'm coming up there, my video, and they're looking, and I'm like, no, no,
That's all right. I
yeah,
I, I remember I'm probably at the time was 23, so 20 some years ago. And I had one particular customer, or we were building their home. I was the superintendent in charge of the neighborhood. And I'm not kidding you, this gentleman would come out and he would set up his tripod, right? This is 20 years ago. You're not doing it on a phone back then, right? We all still had Nextels. Those were the good old days, huh? But yeah, and he would just record everything. Well, a lot of the subcontractors performing the work were a little uneasy about that, thinking
yeah.
what's his end game here? All he was doing was just genuine interest in what was happening. He had zero construction understanding or background, and I that was his passion project, was just recording and watching his house go up. So
Well, I'm going to give it a big splash in the magazine when it gets finished, and thank all the vendors that worked with me, and whether it was
Heck
drywall,
yeah.
paint, or lighting, whatever, and give it a nice splash. And we don't even know if we're going to keep it or not. We might sell it. We had someone interested in it the other day, and I said, well, look, right now, if you want to buy this thing, this is your time to buy it because you can choose your own paint and that kind of stuff.
Right.
Because my wife
Right.
has
All the
like
finishes. Yep.
yeah, all that we're into that phase. So if you want to do something, but if not, it's not a big deal. We're going to move forward with what we chose, as far as, we got a white and black theme going on. And, uh, but, it, I'll tell you, you get the right subs and you don't have to babysit them. You better hold on to those people. They are
Night
gold.
and day different. Yep. Yep.
Pay them what they're worth, their expertise, and you never want to look back at that stuff. And I can appreciate that so much more because even though I'm the builder, I'm looking at the budget too. I'm the owner, and
Right.
it's the subs are really it's like having a football team. You can have the best coach in the world, but if you don't have the players underneath you, what's your record going to be? You
It's no
know,
good.
and
No, and I think it's that's kind of been one of the positives. Everybody in construction is looking for the right people. Well, if you have the right team and all of you can kind of push the wheel in the same direction, we need to rely on one another. And I think as a general contractor, we're kind of the outward facing salespeople for a lot of our subs. And I think it's important for them to understand that if the GC doesn't get the work, the sub doesn't get the work. But at the same time, the GC can't execute anything without the subs. And I think that's all part of the of being on the same team of saying, hey, how many guys are you figuring for this job? If they say, 10 guys to do the install of XYZ, but they only send you two because they've overcommitted, that's just a simple conversation. Just let us know, let us plan. Who knows? We may be able to help you with one of our other partners to shore up the labor deficiencies that you're experiencing. It is the days of having 10 overqualified people to do any given install are just fewer and further between. And I think when you have that trust where the sub knows that you're going to compensate them for the fair market value and that you've got their back and you're not here to try to, pull one over or screw them over. Oh man, that kind of synergy is what makes construction fun, that's for sure.
I mean, my wife, she had a whole team, electrical, plumbing. She had all those guys, but we had
Yeah,
never done a ground up. So we had to get a grader and we had to do the concrete and the foundations and the footings. We had to get a roof and we had to frame the house. So those big nuts in the front end of
yeah,
the house build but once it's been turned over to my wife's crew and we don't she'll go up in the morning, I'll go up in the afternoon, I'll go do a little video but I'm putting it into an ebook. I'll give it in, the splash, but the amount of
yeah,
video and pictures that I've taken, I'm going to digitally make it look really nice. And, but it's been really, really satisfying. And, I told my wife, I go, look, if we can keep the house or we can sell it and we can go build another one. That's what I would want to do. And,
yeah,
now that we have, I think I would, there's only one sub I think I would swap out. But other than that, all the other people, and what was great is, we're up here north of Atlanta, third, and we're out in the sticks. So it's kind of a good old boy network.
yeah,
And the framer, I mean, he got us the brick guy, this guy got this guy. They were all intertwined. And if you keep one of them happy, and if you don't take the one, if you don't let one of them come in, it kind of
yeah,
rocks the boat. So you take the whole, and then you kind of find out, so one of the guys is kind of iffy. And I was like, if we do not, we're not gonna bring that one back. We want to find someone that's more. He did good work, but
sure.
uh,
Yeah,
just yeah, it's preference. And but the ones that you do have, oh my God, you got to take care of them. You got to go up and bring them some
yep.
pizzas once in a while. You gotta show them that you care. And
Well, and yeah, I think that even goes to having a team that's going to communicate with one another. I can't tell you how much more productive and more profitable everybody can be when the subs actually just engage. The trades are engaging with one another. Yes, we're there as kind of an orchestrator to kind of get the end vision to come to fruition, but golly, if these folks can just have an issue and talk to the team that's right, across the site, night and day different. And I think you get a lot of that when you say, okay, we're not here to point fingers. It's not about the problems that we ran into. It's not who done it. It's how do we move forward, and we can shake out most of that stuff on the back end. It's all about keeping the client in the schedule, in the budget, as in line as possible. And everybody, it feels like if you're always worried about covering your backside, it doesn't end well for the greater good.
I'll tell you, my wife, she's a female woman, and she doesn't take crap from anybody, man. When they come in, they're like, oh, Miss Kristen, we love you, but this and that, but when she's hard nosed, and if
Yeah,
she wants to know why, and so it's been really good, and we haven't killed each other over the last, you know.
that's a win in and of itself.
Yeah, yeah. Like I said, I said, if we don't rip each other's, head, but I've kind of let her in her wheelhouse. I'm kind of in the back. I'm like, I'm like, you're the interior side, you know the colors. Look, I don't like that color. If you think it's going to look great, listen, I'm flexible. I don't care. You know.
Sure, yeah, whatever you want.
Yeah, exactly. So but I'll tell you, man, she's pretty hard nosed, and those guys chop chop. When she says chop chop, let's go. And
Yeah,
but she's been a trooper. She went up there the other morning, man. It was freezing out, and she had to meet one. We flip coins who's going to go up there. So hopefully,
right.
I'll get the win.
How long how long a commute is it from where you are now?
I'm like right up at the lake, so I go over the dam, and it's one exit up. It probably takes me about 15 minutes to get to the lot. It's
Okay.
gated, so
Yeah.
we're like one of there's 52 homes, and they all have dock permits, and they're all like
Yeah,
southern ranches. There's some big ones. We're not the biggest house, we're not the smallest one, but we're one of the last ones to build. There's I think another house that's under construction. We're both about to finish, but we'll probably finish this house in about probably 7, 8 months when it's all said and done.
that's
And
awesome.
uh, yeah, we'll go get our license in, and then do a couple. I like the residential side of it. It's just and you know what the funny thing was? Everybody that reads our magazine lives someplace. Either they have a log
Mhm.
cabin, or they're doing something at home, or this or that. And
Sure.
I just thought it was a good. I figured we'd put it in while we're doing the build, but now it's been. People are looking at it, and I said, you know what? We're going to keep that in there. We'll just make it another microsite. I like that residential side of it, and some of these people that I've worked with, like the house wrap that goes into commercial or residential, depending on
Right.
the one that you use. So it's all listen, it's all the same. It's just a little difference, with OSHA, versus a residential site than a
Sure.
commercial site. But all in all, it's all about being safe, and making
Yep.
sure, But it's been really, really fun, and I thoroughly enjoyed it. But like I said, I build a magazine. I'm just building something else, So
Yeah.
um, let's
100%
talk.
accurate.
Let's talk about, Wolverine, big contractor,
Yeah.
top 100, 200 ENR, I forget, but up there.
Yeah, I think we have always considered it, kind of the big three of West Michigan. Now we have some of the, larger GCs are putting up satellite offices here in Grand Rapids, but um, yeah, I think they're one of the big three here in West Michigan, which, is a strong place to be.
Yeah. Well, I was going to say, over the last 3 to 4 years, look, March 2020, everything went kaput. No one was skating,
Right.
playing lacrosse. It was done. But it was only supposed to be like a month. Now here we are almost 5 years later, talking about it, but we're out of the tunnel. There's still, you got inflation, you got this and that, and who knows what's going to happen. I just take one day at a time. But talk about, how you weathered the storm yourself. And as we go into 2025 or in 2025, we begin it, you know, talk about, what you learned and how you
Sure.
can apply it to the new year and beyond.
Yeah. I think one of the biggest challenges as general contractor is during that coming out of 2020, A, there was a ton of work to be done, but B, I think people for a long time got used to bad news, right? It was always this is delayed, this is another cost increase, always, constantly, constantly. And we got almost so used to it is it was like the morale of an entire team is beat down because it's roadblock after roadblock after roadblock. But in most cases, nobody had ever experienced the necessity of having the foresight to avoid those roadblocks, right? They're hitting you head on, right in the face. And it kind of shifted the industry, in my opinion, to bring a lot more stress to an already pretty stressful project or pretty stressful career or pretty stressful job site. Um, I think what has shifted is now we're kind of going back to the old school way of doing things, where you actually had to you had to take things and question them a little further, right? Coming out of COVID, it was, oh, price increase. Well, we're going to pass it through. Price increase. We're going to pass it through. And the way the contracts were written, and in some cases those were easier than others. But today it's getting more creative. It's trying to find the vision that your end user is looking for, and how do we best suit that, right? And I think the creativity comes from everybody, like I was just saying, with having the right team and getting the right subs involved. But um, it's kind of getting exciting again, and it isn't so much doom and gloom. I think there's a lot of opportunity with onshore manufacturing that's happening. That's kind of where we've cut our teeth here at Quest, is a lot of pre-engineered metal buildings. Folks need space for manufacturing, and folks need space for warehousing. And I think that was one of the things that COVID showed us right back in 2020 was, hey, on time delivery or as needed delivery was the model. It was just as quick as you needed it as when it was there. Nobody was storing anything, and I think we're being a little more prepared, right? And I think that's the same with the construction industry as a whole. We have to be cross our T's and dot our I's in a way that we're setting expectation and at least meeting them. If not, the goal, of course, is to exceed them. So,
Yeah, the just-in-time manufacturing, you think it's great for the car industry, but some other
right,
industries, but it's just like our build. Hey, listen, we didn't want to put our stuff in a way. If we needed it, I'll get it in there, but I want it, like the brick. I don't want the brick showing up the day that the masonry guy's going to come in and lay it. I want it a day or two beforehand, but
right,
we only have so much room on the land that you're building upon. You only have so much where you can put stuff uh,
correct,
keep the HOA happy and make sure your erosion control and all that stuff is going on. So the the whole thing though is with today is warehousing and data centers because we want
yep,
it because of AI and all the power that's needed and et cetera. So those two sectors are just booming, and I think when you look across the United States with the occupancy rate in offices, something's going to be done with that space. So it's not
yes,
it
100%,
now to all you real estate guys out there that are listening to me. I know if you own a building and you don't have all it's like having a hotel and not having it at 50%. All right.
right,
I get it. I totally understand. However, whoever comes up with the solution to make we're short on housing or
yep,
multifamily. The bottom line is there's a lot of space that's available, but they only have plumbing for maybe a couple of the women's bathroom is the man bathroom in an office building, right? You want to
right,
make apartments. How do you do that? Or without, having to tear down the whole building because it wasn't built that
right.
way, you know?
Where's the balance of building new versus repurposing, right?
Exactly. And it's, I'm off the high side. I like the old architectural stuff, but I also like the new. So
Yep,
uh, whoever figures that out, go invest in that person because that person can make $1 trillion when they figure out what that is. Because there's definitely
for
space that's
sure.
available out there that needs to be reused, and it's been sitting there. New's great, but old is great too. And you could probably
Right,
find some really good deals. And I know some people out there are probably don't get much sleep just because maybe that note's coming into play, and with the Federal Reserve, with the interest rates, and what your bond and all that's going to be worth. But real estate, uh, on the commercial side, if you in like in retail, if you're not building, you're
yep,
dying. It's just the way it is. So they close the dog stores, they open up new stores. The old stores are either going to get reused or I have a guy. All right. He's going to be on my covers coming up. He had built this. It was I think it was an Eckerd drugstore. If
Okay.
you don't
Yep,
remember those guys.
I do.
Anyway, Eckerd built this thing. They shut it down. Then he reopened it. Then they shut it down again. Then it became like a jumping place, then a
Oh,
kindergarten. And the guy who built the store actually had to go down and tear the building down, and they built a Chase Bank there. And anyway, he was at one of my summits. I think the last time he was down there was probably, I think it might have been Biloxi. But he told me the story, and he's like, "Yeah, I had to go down and tear down a building that I built like 15 years ago to build the
right.
bank." So history always repeats itself. You could go back and to that same,
Absolutely. And I think you're seeing a lot of that. I don't, a lot of the CVS turnover, right? And all of those hard corners are now being repurposed into something different, and that's a lot of opportunity there to get out in front of it with anybody that's going to need that many multi locations in expansion.
But I don't get into the doom and gloom with, oh, they're closing. Listen, if you're in retail,
No.
you understand it. If you read a story that's on the web or in the newspaper, whatever, newspapers are, they're mostly all digital now anyway, but
Right,
if you
right,
read three or four or five, at the bottom of the thing, it says, oh, even though they're shutting down 20, 30 stores, they're opening up, 10 new ones, or new
right,
prototypes. And especially if you're publicly traded on the stock market, retail, hotel, they're all in the same boat. If they're not growing, they're dying. And they know
right,
that that store makes X amount of dollars per month. They can bank on it, unless, if you're a drugstore, at Valentine's you might have a bump. At Christmas you're going
yeah,
to have a bump. There's
right,
always going
right,
to be those holidays that give you that bump, but the basic operating costs are the same, but you can gauge on, but if you want to keep your stockholders happy, if you've got this many stores, if you don't keep it going and you know that each one of them does about the same amount depending on demographically where they're at,
sure,
location too, that it's just one of those things. So I don't buy it now. Now look, retail it's been hurt over the last couple of months. It just
for
has,
sure,
with the closings and stuff. But in the bigger scheme of things, listen, that store's going to get reused. That's more fixtures, more signage, paint, all of those things come into play. So I don't kind
right,
of look at the glass half empty. I look at it's half full. Now we just want to get the rest of the water in there. So,
yeah,
retail, it's a roller coaster, just like we've all been on. And but like I said, it's an exciting time. And if things go well over the next 2 years, when it's our 250th anniversary at the end of 20 on July of 2026, it's going to be an amazing thing to see. If you're alive today, you are going to see stuff. You're going to see history rebuilt if the new administration does what they say they're going to do. Oh my
yeah,
God. I mean, hey, no tax, taxes could, hey, listen, the IRS might be go away. Who knows? I mean,
right,
it's just an exciting time. We're taking the country back, and hopefully we'll hold on to it and make it the greatest country that really it ever was. Listen, I told my wife, I go, I'm putting up the flag behind me. Some sort of flag is going to go behind me. So I found this wood piece, and I was like, oh, I forgot I had
I
that
like that.
that one up there. So, but it really is an amazing time. And if you're in construction, oh, it is just going to be booming. Like I said, I've just been waiting for January 20th, the inauguration, and it's like going to the Kentucky Derby. You have to kind of wait for all the other races, and then the final race is there, and then January 20th, the alarm, the bell's going to go off, and the horses are out of the gates. Oh my God, it is
Yep.
going to be. Do you feel that way?
Take off, blast off, whichever
Yeah,
way you want to refer
yeah.
to it as.
So
Yes, sir.
yeah, absolutely. So, well, what kind of trends do you see coming down into 2025 and moving on that you see out there, on your side of
Yeah. Yeah, I think for us it's been um a lot of that opportunity in repurposing the spaces. And I think there's been some creative things that I've seen buzzing around of taking older retail centers, malls, right? I mean, those are on all of this prime real estate. Well, how do you turn that into something, right? What is the end use? And I think a lot of the we're in West Michigan. There's a lot of agricultural in this part of the country. And, a lot of that controlled indoor vertical farming is something that I think you're going to see more of. You can control kind of the elements as they say. You don't run into a bunch of issues with pest control or drought or any of that stuff because you're controlling it all. Now to get that infrastructure and put those things in place, it doesn't come cheap. But I think finding out what's going to happen with a lot of these spaces because they're all over the country, I think is going to be the real cutting edge and getting out in front of things. I don't have a finger on the pulse of exactly what that will be, but I know that there's investment and there's people snooping around those areas to give them a shot of life, and I think that will go a long way. I mean, I'll tell you, one of the malls we have here locally, you go there before Christmas, and I was shocked at how many people were in there, and in fact, I made my trip a little quicker because I just wanted to get out because there was so many people. So I do think it's kind of coming full circle. I mean, it's look at the styles of today that people are wearing in their clothing. A lot of that stuff was from the 90s or 80s or whatever. I think it may be turning the corner to come back around and be that place where people want to go and touch, feel, try on. And I hope that is what it is, and I hope we're along for it.
Yeah, there's a mall down the road. It's called the Gwinnett Mall. When I moved to Atlanta in '92, so I saw the Olympics,
Yeah,
dot-com first, internet explosion, economy falling off the cliff in '08, this
yeah,
and so, but the Gwinnett Mall, it's a huge acreage of projects. I mean, it's a huge,
yeah,
but it needs to be kind of whacked. It just does.
yeah,
And so the county bought it. So I don't know what they're going to do with it, but it's an amazing piece of land. Now, are they going to put, a mixed use in there? Are they just going to go commercial? Are they going to put
right.
apartments or condos in there, which we need, or housing? Uh, but it should be interesting to see what they're going to do with it. And
Yeah, I think a lot of the smaller, you said Gwinnett.
yeah, Gwinnett Mall. And this is pretty.
Okay, right.
They
Like
got
I think a lot of
amazing.
these smaller municipalities, they all want a downtown. They all want this nice area that can bring people to local retailers, right? And I think that's what they're really pushing to make this walkable, quality of life that you work from home, you don't have to leave home. You've got everything you want within that, walkability. And I think that's a push that everybody would love to have. It's just who's gonna be the driver on the back end to fund it all, right?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah, I'm working on a project with a guy north of me up by the Tennessee border, Georgia border, and he lives in this little podunk town above Cartersville, which is basically like, carpet land, USA, where all the carpet's made in fiber and textiles. Anyway, he bought an old restaurant for his office in a downtown, little downtown. It was an old building that was just sitting there, and
Yeah,
he is art degree. Anyway, he's an investor. He's got his hands in everything, but every time I get on a Zoom call, he's sitting on, he's got this cool bar, and I asked him, I said, "What, Galen, what is that?" And he goes, "Oh, this was an old restaurant. It was just sitting there vacant, and I just decided this was the bar, and I kind of work here, and it's old brick, and you can see, all that stuff. I think it's so
yeah.
cool to see that stuff, and it was built years and years and years ago, but it was
Right, right.
vacant, and so." Like I said, whenever I was doing the summit, we went to Biloxi. Well,
Yeah,
that was in a big event, but when we were doing the smaller, I always like looking at the hotels that were a little older and they might have some architectural stuff that they don't know, but then the rooms are new and they've got the USB ports and all that. All that's cool. But if you
for
can
sure.
save what the way things were built way back when, that it's just a cool way. And history always repeats itself. It just
Yeah,
does. And it's like Sparty football. You know,
yeah.
they used
We
to
got to
be
get back to that
unbelievable. Now the hockey team's
2010 to
hot. It,
2015
it's the same thing. It's just it comes back. It's everything comes full
for
circle.
sure.
So, uh, but yeah, like I said, 2025 is going to be an amazing year, and
For sure.
especially in construction. So, everybody keep their smile on your face. Not every day's going to be peachy and cream. I'm not going to tell you
Right,
that. You got to
right,
take the good with the bad. But with the year starting the way it already has been, and it's only 7 days old. Uh,
right.
that, it's pretty exciting. And just like yourself, you just started a new career at a new company.
Yep.
Soon, you have 7 people. Hey, soon you'll have 25, right? Boom.
Right. Right.
You don't have to look for
That's
another
the
space, you know?
that's the plan. Yes,
Yeah.
sir.
Yeah, absolutely. So, if uh if someone wanted to bounce some questions off you,
Yeah.
and get in touch with you, maybe, whether it's on, the data side or, metal construction, whatever it might be, how would someone
Yeah.
reach out to you?
You can reach out to me on LinkedIn. My one of my 2025 goals is to be quite a bit more active on there. So this is a great opportunity to kick that into high gear here. LinkedIn, also my cell number coming right to me is area code 517-819-3772. And email is Linder, my last name, Linder, at questdesignbuild.com. And I'm here to connect, network, chat, help any way I can.
Quest, regional or national, as far as your portfolio goes.
Yeah, yeah. Midwest is kind of the play today. Um, maybe that goes elsewhere with the right client and the right customer.
Yeah. Okay. So if you're out there and you're looking to bounce some questions, or if you're thinking about opening shop up in the Grand Rapids or that Midwest area, uh,
Yeah,
give Scott a call. Go shoot him a message on LinkedIn, or text him a note, and you know, pick his brain. And hey, if you want to talk football, I know he'll talk football with you too. So, you know,
absolutely.
or Sparty if you're from Michigan.
Yeah,
So.
there's 600,000 alums, so I'm sure there's plenty chiming into this.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Listen, if anybody wants to get reach me, I'm at David C at CCR-mag.com. And listen, I knew Scott, from where he was before, but he reached out to me and told me what was going on. And I said, look, we should have you on the podcast. You can go out and pitch yourself and let people know. Listen, it's a big small industry out there. You know what I
Right.
mean? There's only
100%.
one. Well, oh, there's only one Walmart. There's only one Hilton. There's only one McDonald's.
Right.
It is what it is. It's a big small world, so everybody kind of knows everybody. You never want to ruffle any bridges, and it's pretty friendly. I mean,
Yes.
in general, all the contractors. I mean, there's a ton of them out there. I think the flooring guys, lighting, brands, they're all good guys. And it's just everybody wants things on time, on budget, architecturally stimulating, sustainability.
Yes.
You go down the list of all the things, but everybody wants to have their projects done so you can turn the keys over to the owner and then move on to the next one. And take what
100%.
you learned and improve the process, right?
Yep. Absolutely.
Yeah. So, the way the Scott got in there, he reached out to me. But look, it's very tough to get in the magazine, but normally I'll get press releases. That's how I find a lot of my guests on the show. But if you've got anything, it could be an anniversary for your company. It could be a new product launch. It could be a charity golf tournament that you're doing. It could be a tailgate at the Sparty game, whatever. We look at
Right.
everything. Send it to us. I'm a content creator now, so we post content every day. Like I said, tough getting in the magazine, but we'll find it. If you send us something and it's applicable, I'll post it. We'll sing it, or my posting department will, and they'll sing you the URL. It's good for your SEO, which is your search engine optimization. That's the way that Google
Absolutely.
finds you. That's the way 90% of the people find me. And it's a win-win. You share it on your social media and all that kind of stuff. So if there was, but like I said, it's like playing the lottery. If you don't buy a ticket, you can't win. If you don't send me something or reach out to me, I can't help you. You know. And believe me, we look at everything, And one of the things that over the last couple of years that I found out was, sorry, I'm losing my voice, that uh, it's not all work. You got to have some play in there too. So there's
Yep.
even some content on the website that we put up there about, how to buy the right tires for your truck, or what's the best insurance to buy. Just kind of a little bit. The majority of it's construction, real estate, development facilities, that kind of thing. But we also put some other content up there as well. Kind of getting off, not into the weeds, but there's other stuff in there that you'll find. Hey, Bitcoin. We've got all sorts of stuff that's on there. But
You got it all.
Yeah, but basically construction. But if you don't send me something, I can't look at it. Let us judge the book by its cover, and we'll find a place for it. And you never know where it's going to go. And um, if there was one positive thought or phrase that you'd like to leave with our listeners as we wind up here, what would it be?
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's a little cliche, but I think it's make hay while the sun is shining. And I think what we're about to embark on, capitalize and get the opportunities executed and do your best to build your business in a time that's going to make it fruitful. So,
Hey, hey, no pun intended. Hey just hit me because the rain was coming in, and I had to call
yeah.
the hay guy. I said, "Hey, I forget what his I said, I need hay because the brick is just getting laid and the water's coming down, and if it splashes, it's going to stain the brick, and
Yep.
I need all that mud there covered." He got up there, boom. So I just was talking hay, so that was
That's
apropos.
that works well and
Yeah,
not planned. We did not discuss hay prior to
yeah,
this.
exactly. And but believe me, the hay guy, he's probably one of the cheapest subs out there, and he's probably the most important one because brick ain't cheap, especially when you get
No.
it. No, so you don't want, it's porous and it gets stained, and I'm in Georgia clay, yuck, and the stuff's splashing. I'm like, get the hay up there, cover it. So, uh,
It's
that's
awesome.
really cool. So, I might steal that. Last year, I was running every day. I ran over 2,000 miles. I was just below
Oh my
21.
gosh. Good for
Did about
you.
5 to 7 miles a day, and but every day I did a positive thought. So I had 300. I did 364 long and short forms, and I did 52 TGIFs. I put out 12 magazines. I have all this content. So this year I was like, okay, what am I going to do? So this year I'm doing word of the day, and yesterday I was out there freezing cold right when the sun was going down in the rain, and it was positivity. And that was my word of the day. So look, I'm going to leave you, Scott was talking, hey, I'm telling you positivity. Be
Love it.
positive. It's so much nicer. The negativity, oh, get rid of those people. They're just going to bring you down. There's 8 billion people on the planet. Play with people that want to play in your sandbox. Be positive. You're going to
Yes.
make mistakes and all that, but positivity can just make your days go so much better. So,
Smiling at a stranger will do wonders for you.
yeah, even if you're in the hockey rink, it's like the beer league. They chirp, but when you go out in the parking lot and you have a beer, it all's good. You all have to go to
Right.
work tomorrow.
Yep.
My pro days are over. So,
Yep.
uh, a couple things before we wind up. Hey, number one, if you're on a construction site, we want you to be safe. We want you to get home, be able to have dinner with your spouse, your partner, your kids, your pets, turtles, whatever, and be able to get some REM sleep and go do it the next day. Number two,
Yes.
you got to stay hydrated. Okay. So when you're drinking water, put some electrolytes in there. Make sure you're hydrated. Number one, you'll sleep better at night. But number two, even though the winter's coming and you don't think you have to stay hydrated, believe me, you have
Oh,
drink as much liquid as you can. If you put those electrolytes, like I said, it'll make your day, but you'll sleep so much better at night. And last but not least, hit the like button. So people out there will find this algorithm and they'll find this episode, talking to Mr. Scott up in Grand Rapids. So, any last final thoughts before we sign
no,
off?
I just thank you and Commercial Construction and Renovation Magazine for inviting me on. This is pretty fun.
Yeah,
Happy to do it
absolutely.
again in the coming months. So
Well, we're going to keep you. We're going to keep an eye on you as Quest
appreciate
starts
that.
to go. Listen, Wolverine. They were really regional, but they went national too. So
Yep.
one store at a time, right? Or
That's
one
exactly
possibility
right.
at a time. You never know where you get that one big one that gives you. It's like going viral. That one account
Yes.
that just takes you up to the precipice or the summit. So. Um,
Yes, sir.
well, everybody out there, listen, Happy New Year once again, and have a great rest of the week. And before, look, you got the national championship game coming up, you got the Super Bowl. And really, in my eyes, once the Super Bowl is over, that's when things really get going. This first month of January, there's still people off this week, and
Right.
they're cleaning their boxes out. But yeah, over the next couple weeks, uh, and then, like I said, January 20th, Inauguration Day, uh, tighten your seatbelts. It's going to be an amazing time to see what goes on. And if it all happens, it really will be the golden age. And I really believe that. So, uh, Scott,
Yes, sir.
I appreciate our business relation as well as our friendship, and
Yes, sir.
we'll talk some college hockey as we get down to playoff time and see who's going to end up in the Frozen Four. And
Tell you what, if Denver and Michigan State are in St. Louis this year, we'll both meet in the land of the Arch and have a few.
yeah, well, D, we were undefeated. I think they were like 10 or 12 and 0, and then
Yeah,
they got they got swept and then they split. But a couple weeks ago, they played Las Vegas. Las Vegas has
yeah.
a club hockey team, University of Las Vegas, Rebels. Anyway, they did an exhibition game. Anyway, they lost in a shootout. So a couple of my buds were texting me and they're like, "What's with DU? They lost to a club team." And I told them, I said, "Hey, any team can beat any other team on any given day. Okay.
100%.
It doesn't matter if you're club, Division One, two, or three. They're all you play college sports, you can beat anybody. And they probably didn't play their guys. They probably played some red shirts and whatever. All I know is I saw the score. I go, oh my God, they lost to Vegas. But that
Yeah,
but listen, I'd love to see Las Vegas get a D1 hockey team. So and play Michigan State.
yeah. It'd be
So
great.
yeah, Rebel, Sparty, Pio, Sparty. So anyway,
It'll work.
but listen, everybody, have a great rest of the
Awesome.
week. Have a great year, and we will see you next time on another episode of Commercial Construction and Coffee Talk. Scott, say goodbye from Grand Rapids,
So long. Look forward to connecting with as many as you as I can.
and I'm going to sign off from Sugar Hill, just below the Beaufort Dam, about 25 miles north of downtown. And we will see you next time. Scott, pleasure. Thoroughly enjoyed the conversation. All
Thank
right.
you.
All right.
Yes,
Cheers,
sir.
everybody. Have a great year. See ya.
Take care.